following contest is scheduled for one fall. The following contest is a showcase match in the new Texas Grand Prix series. Coming to the ring first, from Greenpoint, Texas, this is the Bounty Hunter, Bryan Keith!
The Bounty Hunter is here! Bryan Keith, coming out of Greenpoint, Texas. Coming out of Greenpoint, Texas, Bryan Keith, the only wrestler in the state of Texas to be sponsored by Swishahouse Records out of Houston.
Wow.
And Bryan Keith may be looking to chunk up a deuce and chunk up a dub tonight here in this showcase match. Greens Point.
From Greenspoint, Texas, this is the Bounty Hunter, Bryan Keith!
There you go, Slick Daddy over there, or whatever his name is, finally got Bryan Keith's hometown right.
I see he's walking to the ring in a bunch of swagger.
Yes, Bryan Keith has a lot of swagger. That's what comes with Swishahouse.
But Exodus Prime is where it's at.
Baby, I am the final boss.
You hear how the crowd is firing up for Exodus? They know he means business.
Yeah, Exodus Prime, a good athlete in his own right. I ran into Exodus Prime actually in the Nastico promo tournament. It was a short stint for Exodus Prime once he ran into Teflon John there because I dished him out in the first round. I'm still in that tournament whenever it decides they run back up. But I'm looking forward to finally seeing what Exodus Prime can do in this match here tonight. Thank you, sir. Best of luck to you, Mr. Keith. I got to tell you, Mr. Keith, coming out of Greenpoint, Texas, a former Reality of Wrestling champion. Trained under the great two-time Hall of Famer Booker T. Trained with the likes of people in this tournament, guys like Gino Medino and Mysterious Q. So it's going to be interesting to see how Bryan Keith takes advantage of this opportunity and also how Exodus Prime takes advantage of this showcase match here. Referee Ben Scheinberg keeping these two separated until the match is official. And the bell is rung and we are underway. Bryan Keith versus Exodus Prime here in a showcase match for the new Texas Grand Prix series.
Ha!
And a little jibber jabber. And a little back and forth here from Exodus Prime and Bryan Keith, but Exodus Prime better be careful. Bryan Keith is no slouch. He is one of the hardest hitting bounty hunters here in the state of Texas. They don't call him the quickest kicks in the South for no reason.
Well, I don't know what he's getting himself into because Exodus Prime just beat Dmitry Alexandrov in a 2 out of 3 falls this past Saturday. So he definitely means business. See, he's taking it to him in the corner.
And Exodus Prime taking it,
Oh,
putting the boots and the
European
brakes to Bryan Keith. Bryan Keith looking to get out of this predicament here. And a big chop from Exodus Prime, but oh, it looked like it just hyped up Bryan Keith. Oh, that bounty hunter ain't taking no BS tonight. Exodus Prime giving his all. But Bryan Keith comes back with one big chop and a forearm from Exodus Prime.
Finna whip him to the corner, charges at him, eats a back elbow.
By Exodus Prime to Bryan Keith.
Oh.
Bryan Keith gets hit with a big forearm and a big euro. A big euro by Exodus Prime. Looks like Prime might be looking for something here.
Oh,
Bryan
it's a
Keith
big boot
with a big boot. A big boot to the noggin of Exodus Prime. And all that yip-yapping and trash talking that Exodus Prime was doing earlier might come back to bite him. Bryan Keith misses the knee drop there, but Exodus Prime looking to take advantage.
Big running European uppercut into the corner.
And a running European uppercut there.
Roll out of the corner.
It looks like he just spit on the mat. There's a pandemic going on. You shouldn't do that. And a shoulder thrust.
Followed by step up in the Curry.
And Exodus looking for, very innovative.
Flip senton.
Very innovative springboard maneuver there from Exodus Prime.
That looks super stiff. I can't imagine what that felt like.
I bet it took the wind right out of the bounty hunter. And another European uppercut. Again, Exodus Prime going back to that European uppercut. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Definitely.
And Exodus Prime, again, creating space between him and Bryan Keith.
Trying to the crowd.
And that might have come back to bite him in the butt.
Blocks the punch.
Exodus Prime with a big forearm.
Forearm is so hard that it sent him to the outside of the ring.
With Bryan Keith.
Wait.
Bryan Keith.
What's he looking at? What's he trying to go for? Oh!
Bryan Keith sends Exodus Prime's head right into that steel post. That turnbuckle connects the ropes to the post. Bryan Keith looking to take advantage of a prone Exodus Prime.
And a giant chop! Oh my gosh. I felt that from here. Oh my.
Bryan Keith, young Seth, is an interesting character. He takes influence from the great legends of All Japan and the Four Pillars, guys like Kobashi, Misawa. Bryan Keith flexing a little bit here for this crowd. And again, you see the hard hitting style of Bryan Keith.
Can't wait to see more of it.
It might be safe to say that Bryan Keith might not only have the quickest kicks in the South, but the hardest forearms.
I wonder what he's setting him up for. Oh! Kick to the face. Running, knee drop to the back of the head.
And the Swisher House sponsored slammer looking to break this boy off real bad. Bryan Keith getting after referee Ben Scheinberg here, making sure he gets that 10 count. He wants that 10 count to win this showcase match.
However, Exodus Prime needs to work his way quickly into the ring so he can continue this match and hopefully score a fall.
Exodus Prime getting back into the ring, but Bryan Keith with no hesitation, staying on Exodus Prime. Again, staying arm's length from your opponent. Bryan Keith here with a front face lock, looking to turn it into a neck breaker, but a big forearm reversal. And another forearm by Exodus Prime. And a big knee lift there by Bryan Keith. Bryan Keith looking for a roundhouse, but an enziguri! An enziguri by Bryan Keith, that could be it!
2.
And only
Kicks
a 2 count. Looked like the quickest kicks in the South weren't enough there for Bryan Keith.
They're starting to chant for EXP.
Well, EXP might be DOA if he's not able to get out of this situation here with the bounty hunter.
Working his way back into the corner.
And Bryan Keith looks like he might be getting
into the tree of woe.
Exodus Prime into the tree of woe. What does the quickest kicks in the South have here?
Some stiff gut kicks. No, he's going to go behind
there.
him. Ooh.
Looks like he's trying to stretch out Exodus Prime. Bryan Keith knowing he has till the count of 5 and using all of it that he can, taking full advantage.
That potentially looked like a dragon sleeper, if you will.
In some way, you could say that, young Seth. I know your young wrestling mind might think so, but you still have a lot to learn.
I definitely do. It's Exodus, not Optimus.
I don't think it matters when you're in there with Bryan Keith. It could be Optimus, Exodus, Megatron, Bumblebee, it don't matter. And Exodus Prime feeling the effects of Bryan Keith's strikes. But Exodus Prime fighting back with some strikes of his own. Big forearms there for Exodus Prime. And a big European uppercut again. That European uppercut he keeps going to. But Bryan Keith with a giant
lariat.
A giant lariat to put down Exodus Prime.
Quick cover, 1, 2.
And a kick out there. A kick out. 2 count from referee Ben Scheinberg, and Bryan Keith might have to start pulling tricks out of the hat. That giant hat, that pristine hat that he wears when he comes out to the ring. Bryan Keith looking to size up, looking to break him off with a boot. He went for the punt, but a forearm and a Euro and a chop by Exodus Prime. Bryan Keith.
Back elbow.
And a 12-6 elbow to the cranium of Bryan Keith. Now Exodus Prime could be looking to hook the arms. What could he be going for here? Bryan Keith doing everything he can to counter.
Potentially a Tiger Bomb.
Could be looking for a Tiger Bomb, but Bryan Keith looking to counter with a Mongolian chop. Mongolian chop to the throat of Exodus Prime. And a double chop there. And a gut kick by Bryan Keith.
Bryan Keith.
Gut kick by Bryan Keith. Hooking him up. But he reversed it into a stunner. That looked like something like an Osaka street cutter. And Bryan Keith backs back into Exodus Prime. Double underhooks. Could be looking for. That face buster. 1, 2. Bryan Keith kicks out at 2. I thought Exodus Prime had the match won with that double underhook face buster that he pulled out, but Bryan Keith refusing to lose. Bryan Keith trying to put it on for the H here tonight.
Let's go.
Now Exodus looking to send Bryan Keith back to the H empty-handed. Looking for a cutter. Looking for a cutter. Bryan Keith hangs onto the ropes.
He was able to successfully fight him off.
Referee backs up Exodus Prime. Oh, it looked like Bryan Keith sent the ropes into Exodus' throat and an enziguri there by Bryan Keith. Bryan Keith picks up Exodus Prime. Big power bomb. 1, 2, 3. Bryan Keith with the win.
The winner of this contest, the bounty hunter, Bryan Keith.
Bryan Keith with a spectacular victory here over Exodus Prime in the new Texas Grand Prix Showcase Series. Exodus Prime, a fine young prospect here in the state of Texas, gave it everything that he possibly could, but in the end, it was Bryan Keith chunking up the deuce and chunking up the dub.